All right, 4 minutes in. That's enough of that. But well, welcome. Esoteric Golds, Exotic Propulsion. We have some of the team back tonight. How are you guys?
It's another night in another set of experiments.
Weird. Something was playing double.
Yeah, I'm here.
No, I'm hearing like an echo double.
I turned it off. Yeah,
Oh, we're good now? We're good?
I think so.
I think so too. Let us know in the chat. Only Truth CC, Stephen A. Welcome all. And tonight, a few things I would like to go over and discuss. One thing that was mentioned, I heard it's actually brought up in a Zerta stream by maybe Winslow, but it was about neutrinos actually making up, like, is it true that there's like a study saying now they are like one of the densest masses of the universe or something like that? Have you heard of this, Jeremiah?
I've actually not heard of that, surprisingly. I haven't heard anything about neutrinos having any relation to an ultra-dense mass. That doesn't mean they're not related, I just haven't heard of it yet.
Energy and or mass. I'm gonna have to rewatch it and look into it, but there's a lot going on with that. And then essentially this new so like what are neutrinos?
Here's kind of the funny thing with neutrinos, right? Neutrinos are in the class of tachyons, and all tachyons by definition are faster than light. So they would.
So are they're particles, not waves?
Isn't that the question?
Yeah, I have this screen in front of me. It says universe of particles, the electric universe. I like that view just because.
Oh, do you want to share that? Can you share that?
I don't know. Yeah, let's see.
You're gonna have to stop sharing the last video and bring.
So I guess I can add some information while he's pointing that up. Neutrinos are an interesting idea that have been postulated by many different physicists and scientists. And one of them that I was particularly fascinated by was Dr. Mile, who proposed that neutrinos were actually a longitudinal wave emission from some type of scalar change in potential. And he proposed that you could produce neutrinos synthetically by operation of a Tesla coil, which he proposed then furthermore could transmit energy at lossless efficiency between 2 points in space in a synchronous amount of time because the waves were superluminal. And at a point, he even sold test kits to would-be students and experimenters in order for them to prove this to themselves that they could generate a unity gain of more than 200% with these little kits. So I've seen that same kind of unity gain on some of the experiments that I've done. I've never used one of Miles' kits, but I like his idea of neutrinos as eventually decaying back down into matter, because effectively a neutrino is a faster than light particle in the tachyon class that can decay down into physical matter. And there are several ways in which it can decay, but this is the idea with having a huge chamber filled with water, because when it decays, it usually produces a photon, and the photon can be picked up by the detectors that are filling the inside of the water chamber. And they bury these neutrino detectors deep underground so that other electromagnetic fluctuations don't cause any kind of triggering, and all gamma, alpha, and beta, and X-ray radiation are effectively shielded by the thickness of the Earth's materials, so that only neutrinos, faster than light particles, which don't collide with anything very often, some of them will actually get into that water chamber, and they may decay down into matter and produce a photon.
Interesting. So, as Mike's showing and bringing up the electric universe aspect of it, my original question of it, is it a wave or a particle, and essentially something in between? How are you saying they are moving faster than light?
Right. The
And
reason why I brought that example up, Bernie, is to answer your question, wave or particle. It appears to be completely a wave. Neutrino, being FTL, appears to be a wave with a negative refractive index as a result of how it was produced. And that's why I mentioned that it can decay into a physical particle, becoming matter. And when it does so, it releases a photon, which was the extra energy that it had in the FTL state before it becomes physical matter. So again, tachyons, they're a whole class of particles, and that's something more interesting to look at because they can also trigger neutrino detectors. There are several types of different tachyons that can trigger a neutrino detector. But yeah, they are effectively waves. They're not matter yet. They're traveling FTL. There's a state in which they can interact, and because they have a negative refractive index, they have to actually suck energy from the environment in order to slow down, which is kind of interesting. So that whole concept of, instead of them like hitting something and delivering their momentum, in order for them to actually go slower than light, they have to suck the energy from the environment until it reaches an equilibrium with the total amount of mass that the particle would have if it was physical. And that's where the breakdown happens. If there's enough matter and there's a close enough interaction, you end up with the neutrino decaying into a physical matter state.
Yeah, aren't waves just simply made of particles? If at the fundamental level,
well, the particles are
right,
made of waves at the fundamental level.
Yeah.
So it's just a movement of particles is what a wave is. That seems logical.
Well, more
Not
the
string
opposite, really.
theory, it's wave theory
wave.
and field theory.
Oh, right.
Let me bring this example up, Esoteric. In this example, a laser was fired, a very short picosecond pulse laser was fired into a chamber filled with supercooled rubidium gas.
Yes.
And in that chamber, the photon source from the laser interacted with rubidium atoms and caused them to cluster together. The laser was circularly polarized, and it added a circular polarization to a cluster through the rubidium atoms. What they did was they linked together and produced a photon that was effectively 3 individual photons all united. So I know this is going to sound super weird, but this is what actually happened. We figured out how to make a photon travel slower than light, but not by just doing 1 photon at once. If we combine 3 photons, if we put them through a supercooled rubidium gas, we can get them to entangle in a state where they're actually now having an experience of torsion, meaning they're twirling around each other. And because the 3 photons are entangled, they exert a physical mass and a real torque on the target plate that they hit. So this little this cluster of 3 photons that hits a target plate, it actually tries to twist that plate just a little bit. That was measured in the study. And the photon traveled at less than the velocity of light because it had physical mass just like matter. So it's super fascinating to think that we can actually take light and we can use something like a supercooled rubidium gas to entangle that light and give that light physical mass as if it was something that was a particle, but yet it's just a wave. So that transition, it's fascinating because we're using particles to turn a wave into something that acts like a particle by entangling 3 waves together. It's super wild. And
the concept of entanglement is hard for a lot of people to grasp. I hear you. But yeah.
And is it like in this plasma state that it starts happening in between energy and matter and like wave and particle?
Plasma is one of the easiest ways to generate these effects. Technically, if you consider the cold rubidium gas being excited by the laser turns the rubidium gas into an excited state, which is technically a plasma. And so
ionizes it, right? Causing
it seems like you can't really get around plasmas.
Right on. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't read this site yet, so I don't really know exactly what it's about, but I thought it was pretty cool.
And they're looking, I think it's all relevant and it's all connected, and I just don't close that. I'm just going to put it in the background momentarily while I bring up this part of Walter Russell's periodic table, and that a key part of it is the first 2 octaves, I believe. So like 16 different particles. They're like subatomic particles, essentially, that he predicted of like below hydrogen, and that they're could they one be a neutrino? Could one be these other different like light wave particle things? Like it's fascinating. And do I have the article up? It's posted in my community chat. Science about, well, we'll see what Michael's got up, if maybe it's on the electric universe, but this new theoretical particle slash subatomic particle thing that's like made up of two waves that's like right below hydrogen. It's made up of two electrons, essentially.
Yeah, have you guys checked out the Electric Universe videos on YouTube? And
a decent amount, like the Sapphire project by them specifically, and that's the key part where they're doing plasma transmutations, right? And
yeah, and then there's
the Sapphire project is both beautiful to look at and fascinating in its implications.
Yeah, it's so sad that Wallace Thornhill is no longer with us. Yeah, he died, I think, about a year and a half ago. But yeah, he talks about some very interesting stuff, including how the sun, now we have satellites that actually can see the Birkeland currents, which are two lines of energy that, like DNA, that the sun follows through the galaxy. And he basically was referring to the sun as an electromagnetic phenomenon which transmutates energy into matter and then births gas giants. And so that is why the ancients considered Saturn to be our ancient sun, was because that is what is underneath all that light, is a planet being created. And then they go into what the actual red spot on Jupiter is. And they call it a birthing scar. And that's where most likely either Venus or one of the satellites or moons of these other planets came from. And so I don't know, it's just fascinating to think that is what happens to matter, is energy, or that's what happens to energy, is it turns into matter as it grounds itself. And so they just have such advanced concepts which fully are just and he actually Wallace Thornhill goes off of Immanuel Velikovsky's theories. So anyway, I mean, some of these videos are so enlightening, and they're so professionally done, and it just talks about what the ancients saw in the sky, which are all over the world, seen on cave walls. It's called the Stick Figure Man. Have you guys seen that?
And the Squatter Man and stuff. Yeah, Squatter.
Yeah. Let's Stick Figure. Anyway. No, these are not it. That is so funny. Anyway, yeah, so that's my 2 cents. Anyway. Squatter
That's
Man.
kind of what I thought in my head when I was looking at those. I'm like, is this what he's talking about? Because I am not familiar. Sounds like fireworks in the background.
Anyway.
Is today some kind of a special day?
There we go.
Yeah.
Right.
People see that by the
okay, I have literally seen that. I have produced that shape in my vacuum chamber.
Tell us about it.
I have also seen it out in the open, just the top half of it.
Oh wow, that's cool.
That specific shape naturally forms anytime you get the conditions high enough. When I've seen it, it starts about 400 kV and above, and it naturally self-produces into that geometry. That shape that we're looking at there isn't exactly the shape that it takes.
There's a few different shapes that it can take as it progresses through its stages. So.
Oh, during the collapse function, yeah, that's true. The inside torus can definitely cause serious distortion onto the outer bow. But you'll see it. It's actually the same divergent shape that you'll see in tree branches. that are stressed. So it's kind of interesting, but you can see this in nature too. That shape is way overemphasized. The angle is much sharper on the arms and legs compared to the central plasma column. It's much sharper than that.
Right on. Yeah. There's a my T-shirt has. I have a T-shirt of this, of the Electric Universe and the Thunderbolts project, and it has this on it, as that symbol, and it also has about 9 different symbols, 9 or 12 different symbols of what the ancients saw in the sky from many different parts of the world, and they all are very similar to this, but some don't have certain things, and so it's basically people seeing it through its stages. So anyway, yeah, you should do some Electric Universe programs, Bernie, and just and watch Wallace Thornhill go through his explanations, which are he's so intelligent. I mean, mind-blowing intelligent.
If any of you dreamed of seeing that shape in the sky, by the way, dream of anything else, you do not want to see that shape in the sky, because if you do, it'll be the only light that you've got at that point.
I wonder if it was dangerous or not, you know.
Oh, it's not that. If you get the necessary energy levels to produce
that everything is
your
fried.
power is not going to be on. Your lines will have long been
burnt.
Yeah, this is way worse than a Carrington event, what you're talking about. You see this in the sky, yeah, it's going to be lighting up your night sky, and that'll be the only thing that you see.
Yeah, but that would be cool to see no matter what. I've never even seen
if the world has to end, why not that, right?
At least it'll be beautiful, right?
Hopefully not. Yeah. At least it'll be beautiful, everyone. At least the apocalypse will be beautiful.
Yeah, at least Tesla had a solution for that. Technically, it cannot be operated today without complete destruction of major parts of the grid, but it would actually offer a conduit to discharge that energy in a preferred area. Well away from anything that it would affect. And if you align the A field and discharge it correctly, you will not generate a catastrophic EMP. So...
yeah, so these are them right here. I can just... oh, no, I can't.
Yeah, the Squatterman images.
Oh, wow, that's cool. I wish I could... there we go. That might be... that's sort of Aurora Borealis Squatterman put together, man. That's cool.
Right?
Yeah, what you should really take a look at is the video of producing this inside of a chamber. You can get the chorus, you can see both sides of the stem.
Well,
we already know that LaForge was getting pretty close to it.
What'd you say?
Primer Fields guy.
Oh yeah, no, that I used to watch this kind of stuff, and it definitely shows. They've produced the scar on Mars, with a moist clay that's flattened into like a soil.
We did that experiment too. We did it under a partial vacuum, and we used a high voltage ionizer needle point and sprayed it down, and it produced the same patterns. It even made grooves and valleys. I was absolutely stunned by it.
I agree. So basically they did it with a positive and negative electrode, which is exactly what happens when planets get too close to each other. They exchange exchange energy, and then they start once they exchange and balance out their energy through, electricity and field, they then push off from each other, and they don't actually hit. They just, at least usually they don't hit, but that's what Wallace Thornhill talks about. And so,
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that again? That sounded really good.
I mean, it's an alternative theory. I again question whether or not we actually have these interplanetary lightning bolts that are flying off. I know we get massive ionic charges, but
it's the Velikovsky. How do you pronounce that again, Mike?
Immanuel Velikovsky.
Immanuel Velikovsky. See, I got that confused with oh God, the other Russian art or the Russian author, the chronologist. Fuck.
There you go. Here.
Pardon my French. It'll come back to me. Anyways, sorry.
So here we go. These are the different countries.
Yeah, where they've been drawn everywhere. Part of the petroglyphs everywhere.
Yeah. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd love to find these.
Let me look for some. Maybe I can find some geoglyphs from my own personal findings.
Right, because you're right in Cali there.
Right, dude. Oh man, it makes me so jealous when I get to see all those all the fortunate people who have their Jeeps and 2024 what is it, the not the Ford, the what is it, not Ford, Toyota Tacomas, the TRCs. They get to fucking drive through that shit.
Who and what now?
Hold on, I gotta mute myself for a second.
All righty then.
So yeah, and then you can go to the Thunderbolts Project website. Let's see. Well, actually, yeah. So do you know what Wallace Thornhill looks like?
Right there. Rest in peace.
Did you ever watch him on?
Oh yeah.
What's that guy's name? The Leak Project.
Rex.
Yeah.
Rex Bear interviewed him many times. Lots of awesome ones for sure.
So he had him on his show, and on I couldn't find the interview. I was looking for it, but basically, on his interview, he goes into the details about how the sun actually is birthing gas giants, and anyway, and it talks about goes into the Sumerian texts and talks about how the ancients considered Saturn to be our ancient sun. And so, yeah, it's fascinating. Anyway.
Can I ask something? Oh, wait. I don't want to derail the
yeah,
topic.
I'm going to do something kind of crude here in just a moment.
Yeah, of course, Jeremiah.
Show my cell phone camera on
screen. I love hearing what Jeremiah has to say.
Yeah, well, please share what you've been working on.
I'm lazy in some extent, but I'm just going to show you guys, since you brought up Thunderbolts Project and the Sapphire Project. Let me just go ahead and flip up that cam and turn this up. So I'm just going to show you the video here, and I'll play it. This is my personal replication of the Sapphire Project.
Yeah, let's see it.
Look at that.
We can see on the surface of that sphere, we're getting all kinds of action. We get EVOs that are starting to be produced right away. They're pouring off the electrode. And this is being done at not an incredibly high vacuum. So in this particular case, like we're getting all the same sapphire effects. We did get transmutation. We got surface plasmoids and an inconsistent heating between the two sides, between the cathode and the anode. And here I'm zooming in on the anode side, and we can see right here, you see how it goes into a transmutation state. Now we're getting yellow light being pushed out
green a little bit, looks like.
That's pure copper, by the way. It's now producing yellow, bright green flashes. The EVOs are collapsing, and what we just seen there is you can watch it eating away at the wire. Now there's a huge chunk missing. We just watched that chunk become a vapor trail that connected to the sphere that was on the other side. So in this little sapphire replication, I'm using a microwave oven transformer as a series inductor, and I'm pushing roughly around 700 watts through it, and you can see that we have a ring glow around the cathode side.
Dang. Totally cool. So what gas is in there? Is it
atmosphere? That's just atmosphere pulled down to precisely the idealized pressure at which it operates.
Have you ever used argon gas?
No argon. I've never tested with other gases. I don't have any other gas tanks. This is just atmosphere and a basic vacuum pump with the correct current input. and we're getting all the same sapphire effects, and we can see that platinum glow. So I
So
thought
I
you guys
think-
would find this video interesting. I've got a bunch of these, by the way. I have a ton of these transmutation videos when they start to flash like this.
And when they're flashing the different colors with the EVO action, it's essentially transmutations happening, correct?
Right. We're ending up getting magnetic materials that are ferromagnetic coming off the copper, and a variety of other elements that deposit themselves on the sides and on the surfaces of the chamber windows. So it's kind of nice. It's a decent chamber because it has windows on both sides, so you can kind of see straight through it. And I just, in a couple of snapshots. Oh, sorry. A couple of snapshots. I just took a few in terms of just showing kind of, some of these effects and basically what they look like.
It's
I guess
beautiful and fascinating.
There we go, yeah. And
Yeah, so the Sapphire Project does their experiments in different gases, right?
Right.
And so you would need to technically use whatever they're using, because otherwise it might give you a different result.
Yeah, it could. The main question wasn't whether or not I could replicate Sapphire's results precisely. It was whether or not you could transmute elements using the basic principles that Sapphire was operating under. I didn't have the same equipment, and I wasn't going to buy the same equipment. I wasn't going to invest in the gases. I just figured, hey, if this works, there's enough nitrogen that I can work with in the atmosphere. There's enough oxygen that I can work with in the atmosphere. If I really need to access xenon, technically I can even hit the energy levels for xenon, which we did hit, by the way, in that experiment. That's where we got the white flashes from. So
that's totally cool. That's awesome that you just did it.
It works though, and you didn't no special equipment, so that's kind of convenient.
Right on. So who's this other person that's with us? Calix?
Very cool.
How you doing?
Oh, hey, what's up, Michael?
I've never met you before.
Yeah.
What's about you?
I
don't know who you are.
Man, dude.
He loves channel, supports channel, and is based out of Cali.
I'm very low level alchemist right here. I'm a very low level alchemist.
Just the fact that you're doing it, that's good.
Yeah, man. Dude, yeah, I can keep talking. I can talk, but I don't want to derail the stream.
Should I show my website?
Yeah. Let's take a look at the website.
I think this is the perfect time to do that.
A perfect segue.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what we need, a perfect segue. Michael,
into
Esoteric Gold. Yeah,
Esoteric Gold's awesome alchemy based out of Utah.
Oh, really nice, man.
Yeah, so this is some of the work that I've been working on.
Have you been to those ancient, like those Utah like crevasses, like the valleys?
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here in Utah, southern Utah. It's where I get my uranium from, my uranium ore, to make uranium metal. And so I have photos of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you.
Yeah,
basically, this is just some of the work I've done. This is my monoatomic gold before it attaches to a hydrogen ion and becomes diatomic. Mm-hmm. This is red mercury. It's red gold in mercury. Mm-hmm. It's not red mercury. It's simply monatomic gold that I made. And then I put it was half monatomic and half diatomic. And I put it in here. And within a few hours, it evaporated the gold, because it's more like a gas if it's given energy. And it turned the gold into red gold. And because there's only two elements in here, mercury and gold. And so I know that this is red gold. Technically, it could be red mercury, but no, that probably doesn't sound right. Anyway, so this is my argon gas, and this is annealing it. This is the green garden. That's bismuth oxide and mercury, which is exactly one of the stages, the green lion stage, which the ancient alchemists talk about. Anyway.
I love it. Esoteric Gold literally is reproducing all of these ancient alchemical states and chemicals and processes, and doing real science, real alchemy in the lab in the ancient way, and it's magical.
Yeah. I wanted to make a channel or something, or a website, like a channel or website called I haven't I should have made it, but it's just because I didn't want to be a poser. But I wanted to be the HVAC alchemist, because like
Do
HVAC,
it, brother Alchemist, by all means.
right? The H, like I there might be a YouTube channel called, I don't think so though, but I thought, I was like, that'd be
Make it.
such a cool channel, the HVAC alchemist, because it's like you're changing the gas to a liquid, and then it just, you know what I mean? So I have a little foot in the door.
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you,
will be
man.
watching
Cool.
it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to do things, and you'll find out whether it works or whether it doesn't. But just for the fact that you get off your ass and do stuff, that's how you learn. And
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's very encouraging.
So these are the radioactive light stones that is the foundation of what I'm working on right now. It's the elixir of life, and basically, I've studied health. I have a hobby of mine, a naturopathic health consultant. This is my website, and so you can tell that I've been doing this for a while. I even studied at the University of Utah, and so the search for the elixir is my focus, and so basically, back to my website. I even have an informational website. This is my marketing website. I have an informational website that has videos and fascinating information about true health. And anyway, so that back to my
was it life changing? Can somebody
LifeChangeHealthCoach.com? Yeah, and so there's videos. These videos are really interesting. Some of the stuff about lattice light sheet microscopy and the electric body, buried tenant, healing as voltage. Anyway, to make a long story short,
play a minute of that actually. Like that.
Say that again.
So fascinating. Can we play a minute of that?
Yeah. The Thunderbolts Project.
They were doing microscopy.
Oh, dude, Bernie's gonna get a microscopy. He
has to fully learn how to say the word first, or like stop struggling with it. So actually, I can pronounce it when I'm not on air.
Say that again.
It seems I can always pronounce it when I'm not on air, and then when I'm on air, I can never say.
I thought you were making fun of me at first. I was like, what the fuck?
No, I literally.
No, we don't make fun of people on this show.
I was like, wait,
making fun of myself, brother. Like, it's like.
No, I don't mind.
I thought you were like,
I'm literally just struggling trying to say the word right now.
My brother.
So,
but yes, I'm gonna shut up and let Mike tell his story, because what are these and your theory on them?
So I have a friend who died 1.5 years ago, and his brother and him, his name is Robert. I'm not going to give his last name. I can't give all the information out. But him and his brother, he used to work for the petroleum industry, and they had very advanced radar and ground penetrating technology that would search for minerals and gold. And they came across these burial sites of these 8-foot giants with gold on them. And on 3 of the giants, they found these uranium spheres. X-ray fluorescent elemental composition revealed uranium, a very little americium-241, thorium, gold, platinum, and a secret outside layer that I believe turned the once plutonium's radiation into a beneficial field. And so these are also most likely the jaredite stones in the biblical texts. There's Noah had some of these light stones, and the Jaredites had some of these light stones that were given to them by so-called God to allow them in their ships to have light. But I think the real story is, from a lot of my research, which there's too much to go into in one show, but I do believe that it was not just a source of light, but it was a food source of light. And that is one of the reasons why we believe that these giants lived as long as they did and kept on growing, because they had because they're, if you study how cells grow, like right here I explain it, it is known that cells must reach 50 to 90 millivolts in order to divide. And the stones were, and as you age, you get toxified. And that's why towards the end of your life, you stop growing and you start shrinking, is because the cells can't make it to this voltage. And so your cells just start dying off. And so that's why you shrink. But these giants with this technology were allowed to keep the millivolts, or the millivolts up in their body, the voltage. And that's why they kept on growing. And
why they wore metal helmets?
Right?
I don't know.
All the golden stuff? Quite possibly.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is, of all the elements that you mentioned, americium has a pretty short half-life, which captures my interest because its half-life is only 432 years. It can be produced as a decay product from other isotopes above it, and then it also has other decay products that can last past it. So there are many forms of decay, but the fact that it has a fairly short half-life kind of makes you wonder how long could this stuff have possibly been around? How old is the sample? And what is the likelihood that the percentage of americium or americanium could possibly be inside of this particular material, given its half-life and decay cycles? So that's just, it's a little bit weird to hear that element being present in any kind of reasonable quantities that show up.
Yeah, that's a good factor.
Yeah. I wonder if the breakdown chart of plutonium has what's it called, the daughter elements, or the
sister?
Not sure. What's it called, Jeremiah? The
isotopes that break down the elements after.
I love learning about this because they try to teach us this.
Sorry, I had a lot of windows open. I had to find my way back to this one. The decay products. I'm trying to find for americium the exact list of the total nuclear decay, so that we can identify with the prime products where it runs down. So we can see. This is, we can start with U-238. We end up with, that's interesting. We go to U-239 and decay into plutonium. So I'm looking at I'm trying to find the whole list. I want to find a whole list and pop it up on screen, because honestly, the charts, they self-explain everything. They've got the arrow showing you which one turns into what.
Yeah, I have it. I have it up here.
If you do, can we put that up? That'd be wonderful to figure out how we.
If there's americium 241 in it, then the question is what did it come from that would have been much higher charged when it comes to, say, 20,000 years ago, when most likely he was alive.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what the percentage was?
He said that it was more than what is normally found in nature by far. So, yeah.
Well, I guess in that case, you could pretty much take any uranium and you're going to get some percentage of that in there. So that kind of makes sense if it was made a while back.
So there's nothing here in this. It's probably from uranium, but uranium's decay chain is actually does have americium in it. I think I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, that's correct. Down here, I'm taking a look at.
Damn, you guys
see. We go from 240. Yeah, we're going from plutonium. Then we drop down. We get a little energy, and then past that 79%, we're into the americium. so and americanium, and a very small percentage that the 243 exists or holds out. The 242 drops down to below 1%, and then we're looking at other decay elements. So, it's a rather interesting chart. I really don't like this chart, and I would love a block diagram. I hate what they've got up here on Wiki.
Anyway, so I'll have to do some more research in exactly what most likely was in it, but who knows? Just the fact that they made uranium spheres is pretty far out there, man.
It's funny that they don't even show you on that chart. It doesn't contain it. It's on the Wikipedia graph. They show you the decay products, but and it's more extensive than this. And this doesn't contain it, which is kind of weird. But
but
so many questions.
Yeah,
it's so hard to understand. Nuclear decay is probably one of the more complicated subjects that we've ever tried to tackle, and it's not something that I'm an expert on. I know about it because of my work with isotopes, and not for really any other reason. But
I would be interested in taking all of the Walter Russell diagrams and the breakdowns of like in an AI program, and like applying the vector, like the numbers in, and seeing what we get out, and if like it's predictable or calculable with this system sort of thing.
We are working on that kind of thing, and pretty soon we'll be able to pump that straight in there, Burn. Actually,
awesome.
I'm just going to ask you for prompts. I'm going to ask you to write them, and I will tell you the style in which you need to write them in order for the AI to do a good job. It has a character limit and a memory issue, but otherwise it does pretty damn good at pulling up information. I actually have several examples of what it's done for me recently, and to say the least, I've been phenomenally impressed.
It's
been able to rewrite several of my theories and make them kind of make sense.
Really? Okay. This is gonna be a promising year. Let me tell you all.
That's very interesting.
Should I show you the last few pictures?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Then we can take off on any other tangent you want.
Cool. Yeah, let's go.
So, let's see. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could see.
So these are the photos from the what's it called? The alchemical temple found above Mount Sinai, which is close to Egypt's pyramids. And they found two turquoise mines, one on each side of this, which has a cave, and you go inside and there's rooms where looks like they had vases or pottery and like wash basins and stuff. And they found underneath the boards this white powder that they believe was being made. It was most likely a monatomic copper that was made from the turquoise. And that they would put in the Ark of the Covenant, which was a capacitor and a power source for Egypt. And so I actually talked to the owner of the Arizona turquoise mine, Kingsman mine, and he donated pounds of turquoise to me. And so I made a bunch of the powder, and I used it all up, and just, I still have a little bit, but that's just another route that technically we can take down the road. And
even the word turquoise, like, it has something spiritual to it.
Yeah, supposedly the first woman goddess was the turquoise goddess of Egypt. And I need to do more research about that. But this picture is of the bread of life. And if you look at it, do you see what's in her hands?
Is it a potion?
No, it's a round sphere. It represents a monatomic bread of life.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and see, it's in her hands too. But basically, these were the hieroglyphics found on the side of the the alchemical temple above Mount Sinai. And so, anyway, this is a picture of me at the University of Utah's nuclear reactor, and then some of the uranium oxide that I made, and then I turned it in. I put it in a furnace and made uranium metal from it, and it was pretty fun. And I was very careful, and I had all the right gear and glasses and respirators and negative air. And so I did everything like you're supposed to. And so, you don't, people don't want to be doing this kind of stuff unless you know what you're doing. And you don't want anyone to get in trouble or get hurt.
Well, it's too late now anyways.
This is one of the veins of ore that I got my ore from. And I want to.
Wait. You can repeat. You went to that's one of the veins of the ore. Wait, go to the left.
Yeah, that's
that one. Nice. It's like an underground cavern, right?
It's a cave, yeah. And there's many of them that I've been in. And do you see the white substance that's above it? It's actually growing out of the rock.
Really?
Yeah,
crystallizing out.
It's actually growing out of the rock from, I think, moisture that's literally coming through the rock and leaching out the either monatomic elements, which I grabbed a bunch of it, so I want to get it tested, find out what's actually in it.
Good call.
Yeah. And so
I found some very similar stuff in a couple of the cave mine shafts of the Headley, BC gold mine when I was up there with Craig. Shout out Headley Man BC on YouTube. Gonna try to make it back there this summer here.
Heavy Man BC.
Headley Man. It's Headley BC. Headley gold mine.
They said Heavy Man BC.
Here. I mean, I'm just gonna see what's in this little case here that I was sent.
Oh, sorry. Would you say, Jeremiah?
Oh, I've got a wonderful little case full of fun things that make my Geiger counter go real fast.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear them.
Yeah, what Geiger counter do you have?
I have a good old CDV 700, but I've modified it to have a BNC connector in place of the headphone jack and a little speaker in place of the external port. So I'm bypassing the probe that comes with it and using instead a 3-inch micro window probe.
Oh, what?
Is produced in Ukraine, and it's the only place that they're made. It's new old stock. It's crazy sensitive. I can pick up coronal mass ejections with this thing. I can pick up X-rays, gamma rays, alpha and beta.
Wait, so how do you pick up gamma ray? You can pick up
gamma
what
ray
on
burst.
it?
Yes, I can pick up gamma ray burst, and it'll send that detector skyrocketing very quickly when one
really?
of those
That's pretty cool.
What I need to do though is it does have a problem, and that problem is right now inside of it for the Zener reference that actually sets the voltage output. It's using a cesium tube as its high voltage Zener reference. Under a certain vacuum, cesium has a given electron emission per space of time, and that is kind of the limitation of the total output current. What I should be using instead is to replace that cesium decay Zener with a set of solid state Zener diodes, and then I would get the current so that I could actually detect CMBs much more accurately.
Type of mineral.
What's that?
Cesium
element.
It's a radioactive element that was used in old cold cathode rectifiers.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you know? I bought an industrial smoke detector for a few $100, and it has 80 microcuries of americium 241, which is like 80 smoke detectors.
That's amazing, because I'm looking at this this wonderful little brown container that has exactly what you're working with in it, and there's this wonderful bit of powder, which is probably my favorite part. It's in the bottom, that just from whatever you extracted, there it is. And I love the fact that it's already kind of ground up. So these things are pretty hot too. I mean, they're definitely comparative to some of my hottest elements, whatever you extracted from that vein that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
these are
Wait,
really
let
easy.
me zoom into that. Hold on, let me zoom into that. It says radio code.
So
What?
yeah, so this just so can you see this,
Yeah.
Jeremiah?
I can't see the radio code
The
102.
world-
Yeah, so
first.
this is like 100 and I think it's like $200. You
Yep.
know, you can find
Both my
it cheap.
friends have them.
Yeah, so I want to get one of these because Radio Drew, I think his name's Radio Drew, Radioactive Drew on YouTube. He has one, and it does isotopes. It does as you're driving, it tells you like if you accidentally stumble across something that's radioactive, and you can hook it up to your computer and you can find out exactly what isotopes are in your radiation sample, which is just insane for the fact that it's only $200.
Right.
So this is the most advanced and the cheapest by far. I've done a lot of research and I'm going to get one soon. So anyway.
Yeah, it says the world's first series of pocket-sized radiation detectors and spectrometers engineered for all natural scientists.
The fact that it has an app, I mean, that's awesome.
I think we all need.
I like that.
One or two of them. Every alchemist.
Yeah. It's a whole different story than this thing. You know, this is an old piece of gear here.
Oh yeah, baby.
I totally rebuilt this sucker. It needed a lot of work. All the battery terminals were corroded. It needed a full new paint job. It was fully rusted out. But, you know, this is the sensor that I'm using. So this is the sensor that comes with it. This
it's so cute though, Jeremiah.
Yeah, it's real cute. And when the thing starts ticking, you know, if you can hear it.
Right? So you restored it and it's working, and I hear that, and now I'm concerned for my friend.
Well, I'm just gonna hold the probe instead of the meter, and so.
No, radiation is not as dangerous
exactly what
as
this is.
they make you think.
Yeah, don't we get blasted by rays of radiation day by day?
This is not the hottest stuff. I mean, it's nowhere near the good stuff.
Hey, I watched this one video though. It was about that guy who survived like Fukushima, but he just like decayed.
Yeah, no, that is high radiation. But
oh yeah,
they basically.
Did you see that video? It was
I
that
did.
Chinese or Japanese guy. Yeah, okay.
He only lasted for a few days, I think.
Yeah,
But so the most important thing is you just don't want to be consuming any or breathing in any of the particles that have been processed, because then that's what's actually harmful to you. The radiation itself is not harmful. Did you know that?
Unless you're holding it like this, I mean, this is a super hot sample.
And what is that? Where's that from?
Is that crystal?
This is a big chunk of very hot ore, full of colors and,
is that
and
ore?
wonderful activity.
What kind of ore is that?
It's pure uranium ore, completely legal to own and unrefined.
It's just unprocessed.
Unprocessed uranium ore. I'm not going to take the foil off because it's hotter in here.
Nope.
It'll
Dude, actually, it's
what
pretty. Hey man, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. Unprocessed ore, you're just mining it.
You guys got these old things. Y'all remember these old glow-in-the-dark clocks, the ones that don't
kind of
light. Okay, so these things are just always radioactive, and just
oh yeah,
just listen to this thing. Okay, so you guys just heard that massive chunk of uranium ore. I think it's like a pound. Just listen to this and watch the meter.
From the 90s.
It's absolutely wild. This used to sit next to your bedside, and
so that's probably what 90,000 or probably 90,000 counts per minute.
I'm not gonna say exactly what the number is. It's a lot, and I have a whole pile of those things. That again, radium is kind of hard to get in high concentrations. It's very difficult to find these days. And we all remember the Radium Girls. We used to actually do a broadcast about that kind of stuff here on this channel. And they would lick the paintbrushes that had radium still on them in order to moisten the tips. So
that's right.
The Radium Girls.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
What?
It wasn't.
It
wasn't the radiation. It was the actual particles themselves once consumed that killed them.
They were physically consuming them.
Is that where that song called Atom Bomb Baby came from?
Maybe, but it's definitely
It's called Atom Bomb Baby, Atom Bomb. You lick the walls of my wigwam.
Hey, Jeremiah.
I
My friend Radioactive Drew ended up buying some industrial smoke alarms that are radium, that have radium in them.
Oh,
Where did he get those? And hey, if you want to provide me a link, I would really.
He bought 3 of them. They actually sold him 3 of them, and he sold 2 of them to his friends. And I was like, "Oh, dude, I would have bought one from you." And so he has 1 left, and they're radium's very powerful, but it gives off radon gas, which if you study radon gas, I just what we're taught about radiation and nuclear material is only half truths. So in other words, the more they can scare the public, the more money they get for the disposal of uranium, and it just makes them lots of money. And so in Europe, the uranium mines, some of the best uranium mines that are old and no longer used, have been turned into radon health spas with multi-million-dollar hotels, pools, a train system that brings you in.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah, and guess what? And restaurants, and it's all based off of radiating people for several hours at a time inside the mine and then bringing them back out. And their insurance in Austria and Germany covers this.
Wild.
So, and you look at the actual research studies about radon, not radium, but radon, monatomic radon gas. And it actually stimulates the immune system and stimulates cell growth because it's energy based. Just like vitamin D, your body can't reproduce it because it's an external energy source. And so anyway, I could go off on that.
I would love to hear more about that. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah,
about how you said radon gas. Just as I want to hear more about that. But because I'm like a pleb, surface level. It's like I only know HVAC, gases to liquid, but there's like 100 gases that they're coming out with, right? It's like HFCs, CFCs, all that.
So radon is
but like
element gas, right?
So are most things just like solids turning into gases? Maybe just my simple term.
That's a very that's a hard question to ask because it's very general.
So,
thank you. All right. Thank you.
A solid to gas, that process is called sublimation. And it's, I guess, one of your other questions is radon. Is that the gas you're discussing? It's that as an element, it in Earth's temperature and pressure zone and everything, it appears as a gas, but it's a radioactive gas. Is that correct?
Oh, it's one of the most radioactive gases.
And is it denser, or is it at the top of the chart still, or is it closer at the opposite end?
You saw radon or radium, right?
Yeah,
right there.
Radium.
Yeah, down. Radium to the right. There you go, right there. You just passed over it. Down.
Why does it say octave?
It's
aren't octaves like levels of instruments?
Yes, it operates on what he identified. What Walter Russell identified was that there was a musical scale-like relationship to certain group assemblies of elements, and he attempted to show them in this particular way. It's a really convoluted chart at the surface because you see the spacing is completely all over the place, but the idea that he was able to relate these things to musical scales, and that it's not so different from how the original periodic table was discovered in the first place. Was it Marinoff? Is that how you say it? Anyways, I mean, he was looking at the same phase relationships and seeing that, hey, there should be an element in this block that we haven't discovered yet. It makes sense because we know that the energy levels between X and Z are there, so there should be a Y between. And this is basically just Walter's attempt at trying to put it all in one single chart with new information past the original periodic table, which is grouped in a way that doesn't necessarily show you all the same harmonic relationships.
Sorry to interrupt. What is the 8th octave? Like, what kind of music is that? Or am I getting something wrong?
You're just looking at
The
mass density
eighth
harmonics.
string. That's the
It's
eighth
not-
string, right? On the
It's not
instrument.
necessarily just in the classical musical sense where you're not going to hear.
Mm-hmm.
The frequency of these things drops down as they get heavier and heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And so the precessional rate and angle changes as well. And some of you can take a look at the natural isotope abundance of any given element.
Mm-hmm.
And though they're not in perfect concert because he wasn't able to identify what the isotope abundance was of any of the elements on his table, he was able to identify at least harmonic characteristics of their NMR oscillation frequency. So
yeah, it's cool how they divide them up into principles and categorize it differently. You know, you got the basic elemental chart, and then there's those advanced elemental charts which show, like, instead of 115 or 120 elements, it shows like all the divisions and derivatives of the elements and categorizes them differently. I'm forgetting what it's called, but that's awesome to look at and study.
And the thing people don't really understand is that there's actually like at least 20, but I think it's like 30 or 40 different Walter Russell periodic tables that he's created, and how to structure and where you'll find the different elements, their colors, through these octave harmonic relations.
Yeah. Man, I wanted to ask more about the octaves.
We will go. Yeah, shoot, for sure.
Yeah.
We can attempt to tell you what we know about it, but really,
just like
I don't think any of us is really an expert on this.
Yeah, just a baseline or whatever, just like a base summary. Because doesn't that have to do with? Yeah, I already said that before, like musical and frequencies. That's the word I was looking for. But maybe octave means something completely new and different that we don't even understand.
You're not necessarily wrong in that thought.
Yeah, sounds cool.
I like it.
It's not exactly a direct musical analogy.
Mm-hmm.
You can go up in music in octaves, which means that you have the same note, but it's double the frequency, or you can go up in semitones, which are harmonics of a given frequency. And that's where you get your chords, your majors, and your minors from, is by combining different semitones along the same octave or different octaves, but at the same semitones. So this is not a perfect.
Ooh, no. So it's applying that specific aspect to these charts in chemical reactions that is the potential, and another task we're going to be challenging AI with to come up with what charts.
Yeah, I agree with that. Getting AI to analyze these charts, if it could actually do the visual graphic analyzation, which a lot of this stuff is in, it's going to have to get a little more advanced to the point where it can integrate those visual graphics. Because we've all seen what it attempts to do when it tries to pump out a graphic from a text input.
Oh yeah.
If there's text in that graphic, it's going to be jumbled like a dream, as if the AI is hallucinating. So far, that's what we've seen a significant amount of, and you've got to go post edit and fix it.
What about chat? Does chat have anything to
even GPT-4 still hallucinates?
We're gonna have to combine all of the GTP 5 and 6s and the different company models. But I'm sorry to have to cut this short.
You're leaving?
I am.
Hey, do you have time to end with that one video that was gnarly?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here. All right, Birdie, love you.
Much love,
guys. Peace out, guys.
Should I play this last video?
100%. It's
okay. So just so you know, this is the boron box that the uranium sphere was found in, inside the giant's chest cavity, which is where it was hidden. So anyway, so for the discussion of the elixir of life, the food of the gods, the bread of life, monatomic gold, all that stuff, this is my favorite clip to end on, and we'll play it for you. I think I have to actually go out and back in, huh? So stop sharing, and then you said do what?
Yeah,
present.
To get the sound.
present,
Yep.
then share screen, and then follow these steps. What was it?
No, the tab, wherever you have the video opened. So it's a browser or a window.
There we go. Yeah, I think this is it. Let's see, my website, Esoteric Gold. Okay, this is it. There we go.
There we go.
It be that we are just a tiny little piece of a very large industry that we are completely unaware of.
Wouldn't that be crazy if that was the truth?
Harness, right?
It's a really profound concept to discuss. So who knows? I mean, obviously, that's kind of like the core of all these conspiracies, from Illuminati to the powers that ought not be, and secret societies, and all this good stuff, right?
Just imagine how
the idea that there must be something more going on. And
just imagine how smart you would be if you could live for 1,000 years.
1,000 years, yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Hey, thanks for the show, Bernie.
Oh, thanks for both of you coming and hanging out, and Calix. It was awesome. We will have to do this again definitely next week. Back, and we'll cover the UFOs, UAP, and also have Solar Marshall with us, and hopefully all of you will be able to join us again. And
I just wanted to mention too, that website we were just looking at, that is Esoteric Gold's website, and you may want to pop a link to that into the chats.
Yeah. esotericgold.net, and you can actually join my Twitter or subscribe to my channel at Esoteric Gold on YouTube. And
pictures of his videos and some of his experiments up there and other relevant information. So it's pretty good that you put it together. I just seen your site today. I was fairly impressed. I'm like, this is pretty decent. You can kind of figure out what he's up to.
Yeah, there's even videos of David Hudson's work and my work and the Lawrence Gardner's work, and even APEC conferences on there. So you might have some fun on it. So enjoy.
That's awesome, man. And everybody needs to go check that out. esotericgold.net. We're going to do.
And I'm excited to talk about what's it called? John Leonard Watson, the amateur astronomer, and the Star Wars projects that he's found up in space, and the cities on the moon that he's recorded and found out how to expand and get better detail out of it. And so we want to go into that and the UFO, the whole UFO subject, and what Ronald Reagan said, and what Ben Rich of Skunkworks talked about, and just everything.
And also got a list of just the UFO stuff with Solar Marshall that we're also going to be covering and going over. So it will be awesome. And we will be back next week, just a little earlier in the evening. And until then, stay blessed and good night.
Peace.
Hey, everybody. Tim Ventura here. And I want to urge you to visit altpropulsion.com and register for APEC, the Alt Propulsion Conference. Over the last 2 years, we featured over 100 of the top PhD physicists, engineers, and innovators in breakthrough and emerging propulsion, and we're looking to grow the conference this year even more. APEC is a Zoom-based online conference event. It's always free and open to everyone. We've been featured in Popular Mechanics, The Debrief, and a number of other media publications. This year, we're going to take things to the next level with new presenters.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just Bernie. Hey, Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.